Hello friends, welcome to another video. In this video, we'll talk about Vmax and how to apply tricks and quickly find out the answer, right? Let's see the question first. Which option is correct regarding competitive inhibition, right? See the options. A, Vmax is reduced, Kmax is constant, Kmax is constant, Vmax is increased. Just these options are so confusing, and in exam we have so much pressure, and we should be able to, you know, find out correct option within a minute, right? So, see one more question. Which option is correct regarding non-competitive inhibition, right? Previous one was competitive inhibition. The next one is non-competitive inhibition. Again, same four options. Now, third one, which option is correct regarding uncompetitive inhibition, right? First is competitive inhibition, then non-competitive inhibition, then uncompetitive inhibition, right? So we have to, kind of mug up the table, or else, you should have a very good concept so that you can recall the proper answer in exam, which is actually very difficult and you have so much less time. So we need some smart work here. We need some mnemonic. This is where mnemonic is useful. It helps us save time and very useful, right? See, this is the table: competitive, non-competitive, uncompetitive, where it shows Vmax in unchanged, Km increased, whatever decreased. Like, you have to be very smart. In the end, in exam, you should be able to find out the correct option. That's it. How you get it, nobody is gonna ask you. So we have to make a mnemonic for this, right? So let's see how we're gonna make. First, see the sequence, right? Competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition, and then uncompetitive. So for using the mnemonic, we should be strong and we should remember the sequence, right? Once again, competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition, and then the third one is uncompetitive inhibition, right? So let's see how we're gonna use the mnemonic, right? First, see the table. Like, this is the one which you are expected to remember. If a image-based question come, then definitely you have to remember this image and table. But if your theory is strong, if you remember, then you can rule out the correct answer. See the table once again. Competitive inhibitors, Km increased, Vmax same. Non-competitive inhibitors, Km is same, Vmax is decreased. Uncompetitive inhibitors, Km is decreased, Vmax also decreased. So this is a table which you are expected to remember in exams, and you might think like, okay, it's so easy, I will just remember. But see the options once again. See how difficult and how confusing the options are. Just see the options once again. They all look so similar, and you have to be very smart to rule out the correct answer, right? Once again, same options, but the word changed, right? Competitive inhibition, non-competitive inhibition. So even if, like, you mug up this image, there is high chance that you might make a mistake in exam, right? Just feel it again. See the options, see the question, see the option, see the question, right? What if you take an answer for, they have asked for competitive, but unfortunately you take for non-competitive? So there is a high chance that you can take a wrong option. So that's why we need a mnemonic. And as you all know that this is a very common topic and very frequently asked in FMG and NEET PG also, about Km and Vmax, how they change with the competition and inhibition, right? So now let's see how we're gonna use the mnemonic which I have made. Okay, so this is the table which we are expected to remember in exam. But as I have said, if you have very good photographic memory, maybe you can remember in exam. But again, options will be very tricky. So we need mnemonic definitely. So to quickly solve the MCQ, right? So let's try the mnemonic. Here Vmax means velocity. Yes, it's true. But here Kmax, we will use it like kilometer, so that our mnemonic, we can remember for a very long time. Okay, the first one, let's see. When there is competition, you need to run more kilometer. Why do we need to run more kilometer? Because we have to train ourselves, right? We have to compete with others. So when there is competition, we will run more kilometer, but our velocity remains same, right? This one line you have to remember. What? When there is competition, just imagine any athletic competition, any sports competition in our school. So we have to run more kilometers, right? Because in a competition we have to train ourselves, right? So we will run more kilometer, but our speed remains same. our velocity remains same. So that's why in competitive inhibition Kmax increases. Why? Because there is competition, I have to compete with others, I have to run more kilometer to train myself, right? I have to do trainings, but my speed remains same. So this is the first mnemonic. In competitive inhibition Kmax is increased but Vmax remains same. Okay, now let's go on the second one. Non-competitive inhibition, right? First is competitive, second is non-competitive. In non-competitive it means that your opponent is weaker, right? For just remember this example. If you are running a race versus a 6-year old kid, right? You versus a 6-year old kid, you have to run a 100-meter race, right? You are going to run a 100-meter race with him, so you can easily win if even if you run slowly, right? He's gonna run fast but you will run so slowly, but still you will win, right? So in non-competitive inhibition K max remains constant. Why? Because a 100-meter race, right? The distance, the kilometer is gonna remain constant, but V max decreases. Why it decreases? Because even if I run slowly, I'm easily gonna win the race, right? So this is the example which you should remember in exam. Non-competitive means my opponent is weaker. I am gonna easily defeat him in a 100-meter race even if I run slowly, right? So 100-meter race, so it shows the kilometer is constant, so K max remains constant, but even if I run slowly I'm gonna win, so V max decreases, right? So this is the second one. First is when there is competition you have to run more kilometers, right? But your speed remains same, right? Second one is when the opponent is a bit weaker and you have to win a 100-meter race, right? This is the example which we'll remember in exam. So K max remains constant because a 100-meter race, but V max decreases because even if I run slowly I'm gonna win. Now see the third one, uncompetent inhibition, right? So it means the opponent is really incompetent, opponent is worthless, so the opponent can't even compete with you, so both Kmax and Vmax get reduced, right? Once again I'm saying uncompetent, not non-competitive, because non-competitive we know it's Kmax remains constant but Vmax decreases, right? Kmax remains constant because 100-meter race, but even if I run slowly I'm gonna defeat because opponent is weaker, non-competitive. But the third one, uncompetent, such a worthless opponent that both Kmax and Vmax get reduced. Uncompetent, what mistake if you can make is non-competitive versus incompetent. So incompetent means such a worthless opponent, incompetent, both Kmax and Vmax get reduced, right? Now see the table, we'll see again. Okay, now just see this table, how easy it has become for us to remember in exam. Competitive, yes. So when there is competition, I'm gonna run more kilometers because I have to train myself. So Km increased. Vmax remains same because I'm gonna run with same speed. Yes, okay. Second one, non-competitive inhibitors. Okay, Km remains same. Why? Because I am gonna run a 100-meter race and Vmax is decreased. Why is it decreased? Because even if I run slowly, my opponent is weaker. I'm gonna easily win the race. Okay. See the third one. Uncompetitive inhibitors. Okay, uncompetent. The opponent is worthless, uncompetent. So both Kmax and Km and Vmax both are reduced. Okay. So just see now how easy it has become for us to remember this table just because of these three lines, right? First is the competition, second one is the weaker opponent, third one is the worthless opponent, right? One, two, three. This is how we're gonna use. Now see the questions, how quickly we can find out the answer. See the question, which option is correct regarding competitive inhibition? Competition, so I have to run more kilometers but my speed remains constant. Say this line once again. Competitive inhibition, which means I have to compete with others, so I have to run more kilometers but my speed remains constant. See the D option, right? Vmax is constant and Kmax is increased. See how quickly, if you know this line, you gonna save so much time. Second question, which option is correct regarding non-competitive inhibition? Non-competitive, right? Non-competitive, my opponent is weaker, so even if I run slowly I'm easily gonna win 100-meter race, so Kmax. So what happens? Tell me, K max is constant. Why? Because 100-meter race, but V max is decreased. Why? Because even if I run slowly, I'm gonna easily win the race. So option number A, V max is reduced and K max is constant. Why? Because non-competitive, weaker opponent, 100-meter race. So this is how I made this mnemonics, and it helps me, very quickly solve the answer. See, if you don't know this mnemonic, probably you will read all the options, think about it, try to recall the table here and there, but how easy it has become now. Third question: uncompetitive, worthless opponent. He's incompetent. So both Kmax and Vmax are reduced. Km and Vmax. So option C, Km and Vmax both are reduced, right? So this is how we apply this mnemonic. So you don't have to mug up this table. If you have made this mnemonic, like easily you can recall this table. And if you can recall this table, you can even solve the image based question. So this was the like my mnemonic which I made for this question. And thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please share with your friends also. I'm gonna make more mnemonic videos in future which helped me pass FMG exam. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.